and how things have changed over the years.
Well, like I told you, I grew up in Southfield.
Yes.
I came out here when I was 13.
Okay. So what year were you born?
1928.
1928. And what was your parents' names, your dad's name?
Well, my mother was, that's not recorded, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
My mother was Annie Cromwell from Southfield.
Okay.
Yeah. She was a single mother when I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have brothers and sisters?
I had one brother.
Right.
That he died when he was 17.
Oh.
Then I had another sister.
Right.
And I have, when my mother got married,
right.
she had 5 sisters.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you your mother's first child then?
No,
No.
I was her second.
All right. And how old was your mother when you were born? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. She must have been in her early teens.
Okay.
I would say.
Very young then.
Yeah, very young. Mm-hmm.
Were there many black families in Southfield?
Yeah, there were quite a few families in Southfield. They were mostly Cromwells and Brights.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, now, did you tell me your mom's full name?
Annie Cromwell.
Annie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you lived in Southfield till you were 13 years old?
Yeah, my Aunt Annie and Uncle Joe brought me up from...
Did they?
From when I was 2.
Okay.
Because my mother went to work.
All right.
Yeah.
So where did your mother work?
She worked in Digby at the Myrtle House.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so were you aware that your mom was your mom, or did you grow up thinking that your aunt and uncle were your parents?
No, I was aware that my mom was my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
So you went to school in Southfield?
Yes, I went to school in Danvers until I graded to grade 9.
Right. What was that school like?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you remember what it looked like, the school itself?
It was just a little wooden schoolhouse, just one room.
Oh.
Yeah. And and we had outside toilets, one for the guys and boys and one for the girls.
Right.
And it was really nice, and we had good teachers,
yes.
of course, because I think the teachers were all teachers that went to college.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you remember a favorite teacher at all?
Well, we had a teacher named, I think her name was Nellie Lewis, and then there was another teacher, I can't remember her name, but my last teacher was Bessie Sabin.
Okay.
And she's married to Dan Hankson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she still alive?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
She lives here in Weymouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever see her at all?
Oh yes, I see her often
Ah.
because we belong to the same garden club, the historical club.
Right.
Yeah.
You went to grade 9?
I graded to grade 9 in Danvers.
Yes.
Then I came out to Weymouth Falls here to live with my mother.
Okay.
And then I went to Weymouth School.
Okay.
It was the school is tore down now.
All right.
It was, I think it was situated where the old recording office used to be in that area.
Yes, yes. All right.
That's the school that I went to.
Okay.
We called it Weymouth High School. I think it was, I don't know just what they called it.
Right.
But that's where I went.
You were young to be in high school.
I turned 14. I was 13 because my birthday's in October.
Right.
So I think I was 13 when I was in grade 9.
Mm-hmm. Boy.
And then I turned 14 in October.
Wow. You were a smart girl.
Yeah. I was pretty smart.
Yeah. What do you remember about school in Danvers? How would you get to school from your home?
Oh, we walked.
Right. How long a walk was that?
Oh, it was maybe about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because we used to come home to our lunch.
Did you? Yeah.
Except in the winter.
Right.
In the winter, we took our lunch, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you came home after school, did you have chores you had to do?
Yeah, we had chores. Mm-hmm. I used to have to wash the dishes and lug in wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about all.
Right.
And she used to teach me how to make the beds on Saturdays. I used to, and dust and all that stuff. Okay. She taught me a lot.
Right. And what kind of work did your uncle do?
He had a farm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had pigs and oxen and a cow.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he cut logs and pulpwood in the woods.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he have his own woodlot?
Yes.
Okay.
He had his own woodlot.
Do you remember who he would have sold that wood to?
I don't know way back then
No.
who they sold the wood to, way back when I was just young.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't remember who he would sell it to.
Right. Do you know if it was sold for pulp or for lumber?
No, I'm
No.
not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
In addition to his animals, did he grow things on his farm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Vegetables.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was a busy fella.
Yeah. And Annie, she helped him.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was Aunt Annie related to you? Was she your mother's?
She was my mother's sister.
Okay, she was your mother's aunt.
She was my mother's aunt, so she would be my great aunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Was she an older woman when she was bringing you up?
No, well, we thought she was.
Yeah. Probably in her 40s.
Yeah, probably in her 40s.
Okay. When you were a little girl, what was your favorite holiday?
Oh, probably Christmas.
Yeah.
Probably Christmas and Easter.
Right. What are your memories of Christmas? What was it like?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had lots of everything,
Yeah.
you know. It was great. I agree. Yeah, Christmas was great.
Would you get toys for Christmas?
Yeah, you know, I can't remember too much about toys back
No.
in those days, but we must have got toys.
Yeah.
I know we had lots of oranges and grapes and
Yeah.
figs. I can remember figs.
Yes.
Because you don't see figs now.
Not much. No.
And then she used to cook.
Mm-hmm.
We had all sorts of cakes and donuts and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All the treats.
All the treats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often would your mother get home from Digby to visit you when you were a little girl?
I'm not sure.
No.
No, I'm not sure how often she got to visit me, but I remember her well.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And what were summers like for you?
Oh, the summers was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do for fun?
Well, we go swimming, and I used to go fishing with Aunt Annie down to the brook and catch these little fish called horn poats.
I've never heard of a horn
Yeah,
poke.
yeah, the little fish was kind of like horns,
Yeah.
and you used to have to skin them. You'd have to take the skin off them, and we'd eat them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What would you use for bait? Like just a worm or something?
Worm.
Yeah.
just
Huh.
a worm. Yeah.
That was just like from a little brook that you would catch.
Yeah, it was a little brook down
Okay.
back of the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out what the
Yeah, oh, horn poats.
scientific name.
Yeah. No, our summers were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would your Aunt Annie do much in the way of preserving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, she preserved and pickled salted cucumbers and cabbage, and
Right.
in the winter they had a cellar,
Mm-hmm.
root cellar, and put turnips and everything in that cellar
Yeah.
would be in that cellar for winter.
Aha.
And then there used to be a peddler came by, I think his name was Luke something,
Yeah.
and that's where they bought a lot of stuff off of his big truck.
Oh, really? What kind
Yeah.
of things would they buy from him?
Well, probably just food,
Mhm.
you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah, food.
Right.
Because we'd always get the candy that,
Yeah.
I think it came once a week.
Yeah.
And they must have bought bags of sugar and all that stuff out to Weymouth.
Aha.
Yeah, because we had all that stored up for winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a local store in Southville that.
There was one store back there called Will Steele.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a store
Right.
up in Southville.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about that store? What did it look like?
I can remember going up there with Aunt Annie to that store.
Mm-hmm.
He had the store in the front, and then him and his wife used to live in the back.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they sold everything in that store, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would your aunt buy much from the catalog?
I can't remember her buying too much from the catalog.
Okay.
But that must have been where she got our shoes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we always got new shoes on Easter.
Did you?
I can remember that.
Yeah.
We always got new shoes at Easter.
Ah.
But she must have bought things out the catalog.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
What church did you go to when you were growing up?
The Catholic Church.
Did you?
Yeah.
In Southville?
Yes, but they didn't have a Catholic church in there when I was just real little.
Okay.
We used to come to Weymouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they built a church back there. I just forget what year it was.
Right.
But when I was just a little tiny thing,
Yeah.
they used to come to Weymouth to church.
Did you? That's quite a ways to come. Eh? Would you come every Sunday?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about Sundays when you were growing up? And I'm wondering how important your religion was to you.
Oh, well, when we got our church in Southville, we went to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
Every Sunday we go to church.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And where did, I grew up a Catholic,
Yeah.
and I went to a Catholic school, and we had catechism classes in school.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you learn about religious studies?
Oh, we had our catechism, let me see now, because it used to be the Camo sisters, and one of them was a nun.
Oh.
I think that I can't remember if we went up to their house or at the church.
Okay.
I can't remember now, but we used to go to catechism.
Right.
Yeah, we were true Catholics.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you remember about your first communion?
Oh, I can remember my first communion too. I can't remember who the priest was though, but I can remember getting all dressed in white
Yes.
and having the veil and
Oh,
all that. Yeah.
And confirmation. Of
Yeah, and confirmation too. Yeah.
So, when you moved to Weymouth, you were just starting high school. Can you remember much about how you felt about moving from that community, from Southville to here? Or?
Yeah. My Aunt Nanny, she didn't want me to move.
Yeah.
But my mother's husband was in the service.
Okay.
Right. And he was over in Germany.
Uh-huh.
And apparently she was getting some money from me.
Yes.
So she wanted me to come out and live with her.
Right.
So she could, whatever. But my Aunt Annie didn't want me to come.
No.
No, she didn't want me because she loved me dearly.
Yeah.
But I did. It took a while for me to get adjusted
Yes.
living here, but it worked out okay.
Yeah. How often would you get back to see your Aunt Annie?
Oh, I'd go back every Sunday
Did
when
you?
I went back to church.
Ah,
Yeah.
When you moved here to live with your mother, did your mother have other children by then?
Yes, she did.
Mhm.
Yeah, she had 3 girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that mean a lot more work for you then?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to babysit them while she went to work. 'Cause
Yes.
she did housework down in Weymouth.
Uh-huh.
And so I was the baby. I was the big sister.
Yes.
Yeah. But we got along good. They liked having a big older sister.
Yeah. How far did you go in school?
I went to grade 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I took grade 9 and 10. My Aunt Annie got sick, and I had to leave school and go back and help her.
Uh-huh.
Then I went back to school again.
Did you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't I didn't grade from grade 10 to grade 11.
Okay.
I nearly did.
Yeah. How did you feel about leaving school to go look after your aunt?
Oh, I wanted to go.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And did she get well or?
Yes, she got well.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a young girl, what were your expectations of what you would do when you grew up?
Well, I wanted to be a school teacher.
Did you?
All of the girls it was some more girls that was going to Weymouth School. We walked every morning.
From Weymouth Falls?
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah, and I wanted to be a school teacher,
Yes.
but it didn't happen
No.
because I left school and went to Bridgetown and went to work.
Uh-huh.
You know how when you're young you do silly things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was sorry afterwards, but that's what I wanted to do, and my mother just let me go.
Yes. When you lived, I'm just going to go back to when you moved to Weymouth Falls. Where did you live?
Well, the house is there right now, right over where you see the Church of England Church over here,
Mhm.
England Church. My mother's house is right there,
Just down the hill from
right down the hill.
Okay.
Yeah. She built that house.
Did she?
We had that house built while her husband was overseas.
My goodness.
Because before that, she was just living in somebody else's house.
Right.
You know. So she built that.
So for you to walk from there to school, how long would that have taken you?
Well, it must have taken us an hour.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no cars then.
No.
There was just one person on this road that had a car, and that was Dunham Jarvis.
Yes.
And he had a daughter, Vesta Jarvis, that was going to school also.
Right.
She was much older, so she had her license to drive.
Oh.
Once in a while, once in the blue moon, she'd get the car and we'd get a drive to school. That would be a treat.
Big deal, yeah. Oh, Lord. What was your favorite subject when you were in school?
Oh, my favorite subject. Gee, what was my favorite subject? I can't remember. He used to teach us French.
Oh, yeah.
I liked French.
Yeah.
I was pretty good at the French.
Right.
You know. I think I liked all my subjects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were here as a young girl, was Weymouth Falls primarily a black community?
Yes.
Okay. When you went to school in Weymouth, I suppose it was a mixed class, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you aware of racial differences as a young person?
No,
way.
I wasn't.
Aha.
No. We never was aware of that.
Right.
We were just, like in Sophia, we were just like one big family.
Yes.
You know, and I wasn't aware of anything like that in my younger days.
Aha. Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was good.
Do you remember why you decided to leave school after you came back after you took care of Aunt Annie? Do you remember, was it because you got offered a job or no?
No, I just wanted to go to work, I
Yeah.
guess. Some of the girls was up in Bridgetown working in the apple factory, and I just wanted to go. I
Aha.
thought I wanted to go too.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you get from here to Bridgetown?
On the bus.
Mm-hmm. And you would have been about how old at that point?
Oh, I wasn't very old. I must have been 15.
Gee.
I wasn't very old.
No. What year would this have been then? Let's just try to figure it out. 1928? 43 or so.
No, it was old. No, it must have been more than 43. Let me see. 44. I'm 72 now.
Okay.
It must have been 44 when I came out here.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say?
You were born in 28, right?
Yeah.
And you were about 13 when you came out here.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be about 41, I guess. If you
Oh,
yeah.
maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the early to mid 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did that work? You moved to Bridgetown. Did you find a place to live there?
Yeah, there was boarding houses. I
Yeah.
went to live with this little lady named, we called her Aunt Lil,
Yeah.
and she had a husband named Amos, and yeah,
Yeah.
I had a good boarding place, and I loved working in the factory.
What kind of work did you do?
We did apples, like
Right.
you put them on the machine, and the machine peeled them,
Yeah.
and then they came down, and then somebody else chopped them up.
Right.
It was called the apple factory.
Uh-huh.
And what did they do with them apples? They must have canned them.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably made apple juice and all that stuff.
Sure.
Called Graves' Apple Factory.
Okay, I've certainly heard of Graves.
Mm.
Yes. Do you remember what your salary was?
I can't remember what the salary was, but I know that we paid $7 a week for our board.
Woo! That was a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$7 a week board.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't remember how much they paid us to work.
Was that seasonal work?
No, I can't remember
No.
if that was seasonal work or not. I know seemed to me I worked there a long time.
You did, eh?
Yes.
Were there other girls from here staying with Aunt Lil and Uncle Amos? Or?
No,
No.
there was somebody else boarding there, but I can't remember who it was. But they weren't from Weymouth.
Right.
But some of the girls from Weymouth was worked up there in the factory before I went.
Yes.
Like Dorothy and these girls, because they're much older than me.
Okay.
They worked in the
right.
Bridgetown factory before I ever went.
Aha. So it was almost like a tradition that girls from here went.
Yes.
I see.
So that's how I heard about the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your job would be standing in a line of other girls?
We had a machine. You put the apples on, and you're sitting down.
Yeah.
You put the apples on, and the machine peels them, and they drop down, and it records how many you do.
Aha.
So we got paid by how many we did.
I see.
And then the girls at the table, they would clip the apples that had skins left on them or something, because they went. Yeah, our machine cored them and peeled them.
Okay.
Then they'd have to take any skin that was left on them, and they'd go on down the belt, and they must have got chopped up.
Yes.
I can't remember everything.
Would it be like one of those little machines you see now? You clamp it to the table and you turn the little handle, and the blade slices the skin off.
No. It was run by. It must have been run by electricity.
Okay.
Because we just put the apples in, and the apples would go down and fall, and the machine would come back again, and you had to be pretty fast.
Aha. Yeah. So how long did you do that job? You say you think it was quite a while.
Yeah, I was there. I was up there a couple of years, I'm sure.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
How often would you get home?
Oh, I didn't come home too often.
No.
But when I come home, the trains were running then too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where would you get off the train?
Down Weymouth.
Right in Weymouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you were a teenager then in Bridgetown. Do you remember? What would you do for fun?
Oh, let me see now. What we do for fun? We go to the movies.
Yes.
And we go visit. To houses.
Yes.
Yeah. Sit around the houses.
Did you have a favorite screen star?
No, not really. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, then we had concerts. There was a lady up there that used to have concerts, and we'd get in the concerts and go on the stage and sing and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, would people pay to come to these
concerts?
Yeah. What kind of things would you sing?
Oh, I remember singing You Are My Sunshine with another guy on the stage.
Yeah.
He was just short like me. We sang that song.
Ah, cute. Don't suppose you'd sing it for me now?
No, good sing.
Okay. You mentioned those machines being powered by electricity, and I meant to ask you, when you were a little girl, did your Aunt Annie have electricity at her house?
No, there was no electricity.
No.
They had these lamps, these big lamps that, what did those lamps go by? They had nice lights, some kind of lamps, and then oil lamps,
right,
too.
Okay. Yeah.
And you had a pump to pump the water in the house.
In the house?
Yeah,
okay.
You pump the water. Okay. And no, it was no electricity back then.
No.
No.
Where, how would they heat the house?
Oh, they had a nice big stove in the living room.
Right.
And a wood stove in the kitchen.
Right.
And that, in the winter, that stove just give all kinds of heat.
Uh-huh.
They put a big old block in it at night and bank it, like shut off the draft.
Yeah.
And in the morning, all you'd have to do is open it up, and out would come the heat.
Uh-huh.
Because they had all kinds of wood.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And where would you sleep in that house?
Upstairs.
Right.
We had upstairs in the bedroom.
Uh-huh.
And they had a little hole cut in the ceiling so the heat would go up.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it wasn't too cold upstairs?
No. All kinds of bedclothes, and they made quilts and all that stuff.
Yeah. Nice and cozy.
Nice and cozy.
Yeah.
It was nice and cozy.
Okay. What would your Aunt Annie do in the course of her work day? What was her routine like as a woman in the 30s without electricity?
Oh, let me see. She sewed a lot.
Did she?
Yeah. Make quilts.
Right.
Quilt. And she used to make all my dresses.
Did she?
Yeah. She was a beautiful dressmaker.
Did she have a sewing machine?
Yes.
Okay.
She had a sewing machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Would she sew for other people at all? Was she seamstress?
I think she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she sewed for other people too. Yeah.
And how much of the farm work would she have done?
Oh, she used to work on the farm too. I can remember like in October when you have to dig the potatoes and stuff.
Right.
She'd be out there helping.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be out there helping too.
Did you?
I'd picked up the potatoes and put them in the bucket and put them in the bag.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we used to tramp the hay, you know.
Uh-huh.
We used to cut the hay and put it in the big hay thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd get on there and tramp, me and some more of the children,
Yes.
and tramp the hay, all that stuff.
How much of what they grew was for their own use?
Almost all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't barter
No.
their vegetables?
No.
Some people have mentioned they remember the fishermen from the Necken Islands coming over here with dried and salted fish, and they would trade for vegetables. Were your aunt and uncle involved in any of that?
I can't remember
No.
that.
Okay.
No.
Maybe they were a little far back.
Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up with the surname Cromwell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now you're a Clements,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you got married at some point.
Yeah, I met my husband in Bridgetown.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you remember about meeting him?
Oh, I met him. He came home. He was in the service,
Yes.
so he came home on furlough, and that's where I met him.
Was he overseas during the war?
No, not
No.
the First War.
No, the Second World War.
He was over Germany. He went over in Germany in like 51.
Oh, okay.
But he wasn't because he was just young too.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, he would have been.
Yeah.
Now, what's his name?
His name was Marion Clements.
Marion Clements.
Yeah.
And where was he from?
Bridgetown.
Is he? Okay, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the actual first time you met him? Yeah.
At that factory.
Oh, yeah.
Because his mother worked there too,
Right.
Mrs. Clements, and he came to see his mother, and that's when I saw him there.
Yeah, he caught your eye.
Yeah, or I caught his eye or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So how old were you when you were married?
I was married when I was 17.
Okay. And where were you married?
Right here in Weymouth Falls. I was married in the Baptist church.
Yes.
I didn't get married in the Catholic church.
Okay.
But we got married over again
Yes.
and in Halifax.
Oh.
After he came back. He was in the service, and we got married over again up there so I could go back to my church.
Yes.
And the children could all be Catholic.
Right. Okay.
But we got married in the Baptist church down here.
Who was there that day?
Oh my gosh, the church was just full of people. You wouldn't believe it.
Really?
It was just a big old huge wedding.
Ah.
All the people from Southville and all around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because, almost everybody we've talked to, they just say, oh, we had a very little wedding. It was just my parents. And I thought, when did this tradition of larger weddings start? But you had a big wedding.
We had a big wedding,
Yeah.
and it was just about the time that everybody was coming back from overseas.
Yes.
And we had the reception in the Baptist Hall down here next to the Sam Langford's
Yes, yes.
school.
Uh-huh.
That's where we had the reception.
Aha.
And it was pretty good.
Yeah. How old was Lauren when you got
He
married?
was 2 years older than I was.
You were
so
both pretty young.
So he would be 19.
Yeah. And what year was that?
That was 1947.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in September.
Now, so he went overseas after you were married?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when he first joined the service, he kind of lied his age or something.
Uh-huh.
So he wasn't old enough to get overseas,
Right.
when he first got into service, some kind of.
Okay.
But he went overseas in 1951.
And why didn't you go?
Well, that time they weren't sending the wives.
Is that so?
Yeah, he went over to Germany for a year.
Right.
They weren't sending the wives then.
Uh-huh.
But before that they were,
Yeah.
because I know some ladies that went.
Right. Well, how did you feel about that?
I didn't mind.
You didn't, eh?
No.
Where did you live when he was in Germany?
Well, when he went to Germany, when he went in the service the second time, because he had got out and got back in again. I moved from Bridgetown, and I was right here in this house.
Oh.
I built this house from scratch.
You did?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I was living in this house when he went.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't finished.
Right. Did you have children at that point?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had, when he went, because we were married in 47, right?
Well, yeah.
So he got out the service and he got back in again after a while.
Uh-huh.
I had 2 boys, and I had 5 children.
My goodness.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
When he went in 51.
Wow. You were busy and young to
Yeah,
have a big family.
I was.
Yeah. What was Lorne's trade?
Well, when he got out the service, he went on the railroad because he had a brother that was on the railroad, Porter.
Right.
He went Porter on the railroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
With CNR.
Yeah, it was CNR.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So-
what he did.
So he was traveling a fair bit then through most of your married, or
Mhm.
at least your early married life.
When he came back from Germany, and we went to Halifax and lived up there for 3 years
Okay.
in the PMQs, in the Army.
Oh,
And then after a while, he decided to get out the service again.
right.
And then we moved back here.
Uh-huh.
And then he worked for Nova Scotia Power for a while
Okay.
when they were building the dam down here.
Yes.
And then he went on the railroad. He got a job on the railroad.
Okay. And did he do that for most of the rest of his working life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we moved to Truro.
You did?
Yeah, we went to Truro in 72.
Uh-huh.
Came home in 78.
And what happened to the house while you were gone?
It just stayed here and kind of went down a little bit.
Yes. You didn't
Yeah.
rent it or anything?
No.
No. Okay. So you've lived in various communities then?
Yes.
Which was your favorite?
I loved Truro.
Did you?
I really did.
Now, why did you like Truro?
I don't know. I just loved Truro. Yeah.
Well, it's right in the center of things, for one.
Yeah, but I loved Halifax too.
Did you?
Yeah, we lived in Windsor, was it Windsor Park? Down in the Army Barracks.
I know where that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Certainly you were busy raising your family. Did you ever work outside the home after you were married?
I always had somebody with me when I was raising my family.
Mm-hmm.
I did work in Truro at plastic plant.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked there for a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I finally convinced my husband to agree for me to go to work.
Yeah.
So I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think he didn't want you to?
He didn't want me to go to work. He just thought that maybe I couldn't handle it.
Yes.
And when I first went, I was sore. My legs were so sore, but I didn't let on.
Right.
And after a while, I got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice to have a little extra income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little independence.
Right.
Yeah. At what point did electricity come to these communities?
Let me see. When did electricity come here? I can't remember when they put electricity through here. I probably was in Bridgetown then living.
Okay.
Yeah. Because after I got married, I went to Bridgetown.
You went back to Bridgetown?
Yeah, we went to
Okay.
Bridgetown, and
Where did you live when you were first married?
when I got married, yeah, we went to Bridgetown.
And did you live with Lorne's parents? or-
But, no, Lauren's father built us a little house.
How nice.
Yeah, he built us
Yeah.
a house. Yeah, we had a nice little house, like a little bungalow.
Yes.
Yeah. But they had electricity up there.
Right.
But I think must have been during that time that electricity came in down here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I can't remember just when. But I can't remember just when.
Do you remember when you were, going back to when you were a little girl, if you got sick, did your Aunt Annie have any home remedies that she would use?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Do you remember some of those?
Yeah, when we used to get cold, because she always gave us scalds of mulching, and we always had to take this every morning for to keep us healthy.
Uh-huh.
I think it was and cod liver oil.
Yes.
And what else did we take? Yeah, when we got sick, we had to take ginger tea.
Uh-huh.
I remember that.
Right.
Because I had some of that last week when I had a cold. I made some
did
up.
you?
And Miner's liniment with molasses on it.
Yeah.
And she used to take children in to look after them too. I remember putting something on their chest if they got a cold.
Right.
Camphor oil, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you make ginger tea?
Well, you just take and put the ginger in a cup and put boiling hot water on it.
Powdered ginger?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And stir it.
Uh-huh.
And you drink it. Drink it, sip it.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to be really good for a cold.
Right. Well, you don't sound like you have a cold today.
I got a little cold in
Do
there.
you?
I had my flu shot, but I got a little cold.
Where was the nearest doctor when you were in Southville?
Out Weymouth.
Okay.
It was Dr. Melanson and Dr. Ferguson and Dr. Pache.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Those are the doctors I can remember.
Do you remember them ever coming to your house or ever going to see them in Weymouth?
I can't remember them coming to the house, but I know they did.
Yes.
But I was never sick that much. I
No.
don't even remember being sick to have a doctor.
No.
No.
Were children vaccinated when you were a little girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the doctor used to come to the school, I think, and
Right.
vaccinate the children. I think I can remember that.
Right.
He came to the schoolhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often would you get to Digby or Weymouth when you were little? Say before you were 10 years old.
I don't remember going to Digby, but I remember we always went to Bear River to the Cherry Carnival.
Did you?
Every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, describe that to me.
Well, we go on the back of a truck.
Who would go?
Aunt Annie, Joe, all of Southville.
Yes.
And this guy, his name was Dan something from over Carberry Way.
Yeah.
And he had a big truck, and we'd all get on the truck, and away we go to the Cherry Carnival.
Yeah. This would be a summer thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
around cheering time.
Yes. Okay.
And then we go to this. These people had these cherries. We take lunch,
Uh-huh.
and we go in a big field, and then they'd go up the trees and pick the cherries. They probably had to pay those people some money for the cherries.
Yes.
Are you warm enough?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a one-day outing, was it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what else would you do besides have a big picnic at the Cherry Carnival? Were there parades or anything?
No, it wasn't any parade.
No.
We'd just play around.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that would be something you'd look forward to every year.
And everybody would take a big lunch, you know.
Yes.
They used to make, I remember my Aunt Annie used to make potato salad.
Yes.
And that was so good the way they made it back in
Mhm.
those days.
Yeah.
And chicken, fried chicken and all that.
Yeah.
We'd just have a big old feast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. They still have a Cherry Carnival, I guess, do they, in Bear River?
Yeah, they still, I've never been up there since I've grown up, but I guess it's really, they must have really, I don't know what they do now, but they still have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Problem with my B&B, I can't go anywhere in the summertime, right? I just stay here.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. How did people take care of their teeth when you were a little girl? Were there dentists around, do you remember? Or?
Yeah, there must have been dentists. I'm not sure.
No? Do you remember, would you brush your teeth?
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
always had to brush our teeth.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we always brushed our teeth.
Yeah.
But I don't remember having to go to the dentist.
No.
I don't remember when I was little.
Right, right.
Yeah.
When someone died, what was the procedure?
Oh, when somebody died, they took the body at the house.
Yeah.
The body was in the living room in the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it didn't stay at the undertaker.
Okay.
And everybody mourned at the house.
Right.
I remember that the priest would come
Uh-huh.
and everybody would come. And nobody went to bed.
Is that
You know,
so?
they just, well, I guess they take turns of going to bed.
Right.
But you just stay up all night.
Uh-huh.
Nobody, in that house where that body was, people stayed there all night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many days would that body lay in that house?
I'm not sure,
No.
but it was called a wake, and
Yes.
it just stayed there.
Do you remember anybody in particular in your family where that kind of a wake was held?
I can remember my Uncle Oscar when he died.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was Uncle Oscar?
That was be my mother's brother
Okay.
in Sophville.
In Southville.
Yeah, I remember going up and
Uh-huh.
seeing him in the coffin and
Yeah.
being at the wake.
Are you saying that there was no embalming at all then? They never went?
Well, no, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, because we had an undertaker here.
Okay.
Yeah, the undertaker would take the body to the undertaker's parlor, then the body would come back.
I see.
I think that's the way it went.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think so.
What are the names of your children, Marion?
Oh, my children. I have 13 children.
You do? I can't imagine. And look at you. You look wonderful.
Well, I had 14. I lost a little boy at 5 weeks old.
Oh, dear. Yes. Yeah.
My children,
Yeah.
my oldest one is William
Yes.
and Douglas, Ramona, Twyla, Alan, Deborah, Wade, Angela, Heidi, Benjamin, and Drew, and Julie.
My goodness.
Now, was that 13?
I wasn't counting. Sounds about right.
I don't think I missed any.
No.
Yeah.
And what is the spread of years between the oldest and the youngest?
Well, my oldest one, she was born in my oldest one, that's my girl. My oldest boy was born in 1947.
Okay.
And my youngest one was born in 1966.
Okay, so almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine having 13 children in one family. How did you even set up for meals? Where do you seat 13 children at once?
Well, see, I didn't have by the time I got down to some was gone.
Of course, okay. Yeah, right. So you never actually had 13 at one point.
Yeah, because when Julie was born, my daughters, Ramona and Twyla, were pretty big girls.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, and Billy was already gone.
Right.
He was in Toronto working.
Okay.
And Douglas, I think he was in the service.
Yes.
Yeah, so my oldest ones, they were about ready to go. But anyway, I managed to. It was just a full-time job.
I imagine, yes. But even, you weren't working at this point. Your husband was earning the whole income.
Mm-hmm.
How would you manage at Christmas time to provide gifts for all your kids?
Well, I had budgets.
Yes.
I had a budget at Eaton's.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I used to get the children's clothes twice a year, like on my Eaton's budget, which that was good.
Yeah.
And we didn't have, he always had a job,
Yes.
Which was good.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to worry about no money for food.
Right.
He was a good provider.
Yes.
And we had grocery bills then. Like you could get all the groceries you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay for it when you get paid.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you have to buy them at a certain store?
Well, here at Weymouth, they didn't have too many grocery stores here.
Right.
I think I remember doing my groceries here at Right Ways,
Okay.
a store named Right Ways. Oh, yes, and there was another person had a store here named Tom Camo.
Right.
Yeah, we used to get groceries there.
Okay.
He had a store. He's dead now.
Okay.
Yeah, we had no problem with groceries.
Right. It wasn't like a company store, though, where you had to buy at a certain place.
Oh, no. We had no trouble with groceries.
Yeah.
And then Christmas time we get boxes of grapes. We always got our milk by the case.
Did you?
Canned milk by the case.
Yes, my goodness.
Yeah. You know. So we always had lots of food.
Yeah, it's comfy.
And I used to make all my homemade bread.
Yes, my goodness.
I used to make bread. I don't think we ever bought a loaf of bread like we do now.
Really?
Baker's bread. I made the bread.
You must have, but would you make bread every day then?
No, but twice a week.
Really? How many loaves at a time?
Well, they used to have the 24-pound bags of flour then, so I just make that up. Oh, the cupboard would be just full of bread.
My goodness.
Then I had a bread bin there. We had a bread bin that came open and would just put the bread in there.
Yeah.
Then I got a freezer,
Right.
big old freezer, used to sit right there.
Yes.
And we raised pigs.
Okay, yeah.
And had chickens.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're pretty self-sufficient too then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned all that from the way I was brought up.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my asking, what happened to your little boy, the 5-week-old?
Well, you know, he just got sick in the morning. He just was having trouble breathing.
Right.
And the nurse had been here the day before, Mrs. Tupper.
Uh-huh.
And we took him down to the doctor, and by the time we got him to Dr. Melanson, he was gone.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, what a shock, eh?
Yeah. Dr. Melanson thought it was his heart.
Right.
But
Ah.
so we just called it, we had a taxi come and took it. We didn't take him to the hospital or anything.
No.
Back then things were different.
Yes.
So the doctor just examined him, and then the undertaker took him to the undertaker. It was just I don't know.
Yeah.
The doctor thought it was his heart.
But
But he was good the day before.
a shame, eh?
It was just,
Yeah.
just something.
When you and Lauren were first starting out, I'm wondering how you planned ahead for your retirement, or did you even think of it at that point?
No, we never thought about it.
No. Did the services must have had some kind of a pension plan, I suppose even then, though, would there have been?
Well, they must have. But when he got out to service, no, he wasn't. He got a pension after a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but when he got out to service, he was, well, healthy to work.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, but he developed arthritis in his knees and all that stuff. So he was getting a pension when he died.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago did he die?
He died in '78.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
Still a young man.
he was drowned.
Oh, really?
He got drowned back in Sophia.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well, what happened? Was he fishing? Or?
no, we was just having a family reunion back there, and he just sneaked away from the crowd and went swimming in the lake.
Yes.
Nobody knew he was in the lake.
No.
Till we saw him, it was too late.
Ah.
Yeah, so it just...
You've had some shocks in your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did, or maybe I'm making an assumption, my question is, how did people help each other out in days gone by? That's different from now, but maybe that isn't necessarily the case. How would you compare a sense of community, say 40 years ago to now?
What do you mean?
Well, you know, I'm wondering, people say, well, in the old days people helped each other out more. You know, if someone was in trouble, the whole neighborhood came, but maybe it's just as true now in small communities, do you
Probably.
think?
Yeah, I can remember what people used to go to houses more than,
Yes.
you know, but now, well, people don't go like they used to.
No. Everybody's got a television.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably it, and they got the telephones and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
But I think they probably did help each other out. You know, if someone was sick, they'd go help them and,
Yeah.
and do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Although, you know, I find I live in Freeport now, which is a small community. I find people are awfully good to each other there if they need something.
Yeah. They're the same. They're the same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has the look of this community changed over the years?
Well, they have the paved roads here.
Right.
They didn't have the paved roads back then.
No.
Actually, they still haven't got this road paved.
No. Where does this road end up?
This road takes you right back in Southfield.
Okay.
Back Horbury.
Yeah.
Keep going right straight. You go right through the Yarmouth.
I must do that sometime.
Yeah, it's called, and you can go right through the Shelburne too now.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Who took care of the roads before they paved them?
Oh, they used to have the grader come grate them. I remember that. Then the men used to come pick the rocks and, work on the road like that.
Okay.
The big grader would come grate them.
Right.
Then you see all the men coming, maybe half a dozen of them. They rake the rocks away. And
Would these be local men hired to do that? Okay.
yeah, the local men from the community.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What was, for people living here in Weymouth Falls, what was the largest employer?
I can remember Jordan Hat. They used to sell the wood to Jordan Hat. I can remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And George Wagander.
Mm-hmm.
They probably sold wood to him too. And then there was Taylor's Mill. I can remember that.
Right.
There wasn't any Lewis's Mill then.
There wasn't?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
But most of the men made their living cutting wood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cutting wood, and then boats used to come in, and get the lumber and stuff.
Right.
They used to work on those lumber boats and pole boats.
Do you remember that yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can remember that.
From
Yeah.
Weymouth, they would.
Yeah.
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 So Weymouth was a busier spot then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weymouth was a pretty busy spot.
Do you remember the fire in Weymouth in 1959, I think it was? There was a big one in 29, and then there was one again in the 50s.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have been here when
No.
that one was in the 50s.
Okay.
No, I must have been in Bridgetown somewhere,
Okay.
or Halifax.
Right.
Yeah, I was in Halifax when Deborah was born. She was born in 56.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Were any of your children born at home?
Yes, I had 2 children born at home.
Did you?
Mhm.
Which ones?
Douglas, my second child,
Wow. Yeah.
he was born right back to my Aunt Annie's house.
Yes.
Because I was in Bridgetown, and she wanted me to come down and have my baby back there,
Yes.
and I did.
Ah.
Because
okay.
she was kind of like a midwife or whatever
Okay.
too. But we had the doctor and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my son Wade, he was born right down to my mother's house.
Really?
Hmm
And where was Wade in the lineup?
Wade was born in 51.
So he would have been about your
52.
your 4th or 5th child.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Doug and Bill, Moan, Twan. Wade would be my 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you chose to have him at home.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
asked the doctor, could I have the baby at home?
Yeah.
And he said yes.
Was that unusual in those days?
No.
No.
And it was Dr. Lawley, and him and his wife came,
Mm-hmm.
and was no problem.
No, right? Yeah.
See, I still got a little
Yes,
cold
you
here.
are.
Yeah.
What organizations did you belong to outside of, well, you belonged to the church, but were there Catholic Women's League or any of those things that you belonged
The only thing I belonged to back then was in 1963 we formed a ladies' auxiliary here
of
at
what?
the Legion, Royal
At the
Canadian Legion.
Okay.
I didn't belong to anything. I was too busy.
Yes.
Tell
Yes,
you
I'm
the truth.
sure.
So that's all. I joined that in 1963.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you belong to a gardening club, did you say?
I belong to the Garden Club here in Weymouth and the Historical Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know Bee. What's
Mhm.
Bee's last name? Bee. She stayed at my bed and breakfast a couple of years ago and brought me a little African violet.
Yeah, I know Beatrice.
Beatrice, yeah.
Actually, I didn't mention her name because Mom, I think. She's my sister.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's my
Okay.
sister. Yeah.
Did she grow up with Aunt Annie then?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
But I didn't mention her because I didn't want her to.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. I enjoyed her very much when she came to visit me.
Yeah, her and I are sisters. Yeah, she
Yeah.
called me quite often.
Good.
Yeah.
She came down for the senior games, I think is what she
Yeah.
was doing down on the islands. Yeah. How much contact would people here in Weymouth Falls have with the black people who lived in Jordantown? Were they two very separate communities?
I don't really know too much about Jordantown.
No. No.
I know some ladies there, though.
Yeah.
Well, there's a, no, she's dead now. I knew Catherine Johnson and her sister, her brother, Hubert Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know too much about Jordantown.
No, there wasn't a lot of back and forth then between.
I think they used to the Baptist associations now. They used to all come here.
Okay.
Yeah, the Baptist church.
Yes.
Yeah,
Huh.
I can remember coming out here to their associations and seeing all the people.
Right.
So probably was Jordantown and
Right.
Halifax and all that.
Aha.
They
Wow.
come to their church.
All the way from Halifax to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can remember that.
Aha.
Yeah.
George Eliot Clark is from here, is he not?
No, he's
No?
from up Halifax way.
I thought he didn't grow up here though.
No,
Okay.
no. He was working down here one summer.
Okay.
He was working down here. I wasn't here. I think it was during our time in Truro, but I met George Eliot Clark.
Did you?
Through my
Yeah.
daughter Heidi.
Aha.
Yeah. And no, he's not from here.
Okay.
Is he from Windsor? But more like Halifax.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought because he'd written that book, Willa Falls. I
Yes,
just
he
assumed-
did.
Yeah.
Wrote the book Willa Falls.
He's done well.
Yes, he has.
Do you have any memories of the poorhouse at all? Not directly, obviously, but do you remember it being there as kind of a scary place, or?
I can remember the poorhouse.
Yes.
Yeah. I can remember that poorhouse, yes.
Did it? Was it a place that people from this community would go to if they were destitute? Do you remember? Or?
There was a family from here that lived in the poorhouse
Yeah.
up there. They're dead now.
Yeah.
It was Annie, they used to call her Annie Collins, but her husband was Colin Langford,
Mm-hmm.
and she lived there.
Uh-huh.
She was in the poorhouse, and she had a daughter named Marion.
Mm-hmm.
No, she had a daughter named Gussie,
Okay.
Gussie Simmons.
Right.
And when Mrs. Simmons got out the poorhouse and came down here to work for Mr. Simmons, and they got married.
Okay.
And then she went and she got her mother out,
Oh, good.
and her mother lived with her
Ah.
till she died.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a happier ending than some people have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to flip this over for a minute. I won't tie you up much longer.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that furnace to come on. You
Oh.
sure? You want to go touch it? Are you cold?
No, I'm not. I'm fine, really. I'm
Okay.
healthy.
Are you?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I really don't. At home, if I might put an extra sweater on or something, but I don't tend to keep the house really hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I go to my sister's in Dartmouth, I think, how can she stand it?
I know sometimes it really is too
Yeah.
hot.
Do you remember any ghost stories at all from this community, Marion? Or
Oh, I remember those when I moved out here to Weymouth Falls. I can remember those guys talking ghost stories. They really used to believe in them ghost stories.
yeah,
I remember an old guy, Walter Langford. He was Sam Langford's brother.
okay,
He used to come to my mother's house and visit with my mother's husband. My stepfather was Eric Langford.
okay,
Yeah.
yes.
And they used to talk about ghosts,
Yeah,
but I can't remember the stories.
none in particular.
No, they used to talk about ghosts.
How How big a deal was Sam Langford in this community in days gone by? How much of a hero was he years ago?
Well, years ago, we never heard too much about Sam way
No.
back then.
No?
No, we just knew, we heard him talk about Sam, and
Yeah.
he was a boxer over in the States, but
Yeah.
that's all we knew.
He didn't really get recognized till later.
I don't believe so. Yeah.
I even forget when he died. But you would never have met him, eh?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I think that was before your time, actually.
Yeah.
Well, what haven't I asked you about that you think the young people should know?
I don't know.
No?
I remember when we went to school in Weymouth, sometimes we'd get a ride on a horse cart.
Yeah.
Not a horse cart, a ox cart.
Oh.
Because Howard Langford used to have an ox in a cart. He used to go to town.
Yes.
And sometimes we'd get a ride. We'd sit on the back of the cart, which was fun for us.
Sure. But I bet you it was slower than walking.
Yes, that was a treat. And let me see. I used to sell the newspaper every Saturday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had a paper route.
Which paper was that?
It must have been the Halifax paper.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because they'd bring them down at the drugstore, and
Yeah.
I would. I think it was just a Saturday thing.
Yes.
Up to Weymouth Falls, I'd go with my newspaper.
How would you carry them?
I'd just carry them. Must have had a little bookcase or something with them
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you would have made per paper?
I can't remember
No.
how much those papers were. They probably wasn't very much.
No. No.
Yeah, but I can remember that.
And do you remember what you were saving for?
I can't even remember what I did with my money.
No way. No big purchase like a bicycle or...
No. It was just something to do.
Yeah. Well, that was, praiseworthy of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we've pretty much covered my questions here. That was very interesting.
Well, there.
Yeah.
I hope I was some help to you.
Oh, indeed.
There was I?
Yeah. We'll, there's going to be a launch of this project in March. So we'll certainly let you know. So I imagine it'll be at the municipal building in Digby. And
Okay.
we'll have it set up with the website and things so you can click on your name and...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to... You can read that.
Do you want me to